He was the king of hip-hop, a billionaire celebrated and surrounded by stars and luxury. Sean Combs, better known as Diddy. But behind the glittering facade of a music mogul, something darker lurked. In 2023, shocking headlines shook the world. Multiple women accused him of sexual abuse, spanning back to the 90s. His empire, his reputation, his power, all suddenly at stake. And everyone began asking the same question: who is this man really?
How do I address you?
You could call me Love.
And you've referred to yourself differently over the years, so I gotta ask you, why so many name changes?
It depends on my mood, my vibe.
Before the headlines, before the scandals, Diddy was a global icon. A man who turned ambition into identity, reshaping what success looked like for a generation. He wasn't just the music, he was the culture. From fashion shows in Paris to nightclub openings in Miami, he embodied the American dream. A self-made mogul who built an empire on confidence, charisma, and control. To some he was an inspiration, to others intimidation. But as the years went by, admiration began to blur with fear, and the myth of Diddy started to fracture. In the early 90s, Sean Combs was a young, ambitious executive at Uptown Records, learning how the industry worked, connecting with talent. In 1993, he launched Bad Boy Records. Artists like the Notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, and 112 rapidly made the label legendary. Diddy became a symbol of glamour, success, and influence.
But his promising future came to a violent end over the weekend when he was shot to death.
Biggie's death changed everything. Diddy turned to build up his own career as an artist. With hits like he became a global superstar. Wealth, fame, women, power, he had it all. But even then, whispers about his behavior towards women began to circulate. Nothing was proven, the stories lingered, just enough to cast a shadow. Years later, several women came forward. They recalled the so-called white parties of the 90s where they said Diddy and his entourage harassed them. One called herself Lisa, another Joy. No one dared to speak publicly at the time, his power was too great. Diddy kept rising, fashion lines, liquor brands, reality TV. His empire seemed unstoppable. The accusations for years seemed to vanish in thin air. In that era, Diddy was untouchable. No one dared to cross him. In the 2000s, Diddy met Cassie Ventura, a 19-year-old singer. They became a couple. On the surface, all glamour, parties, red carpets, music videos. Years later, Cassie filed a lawsuit. She accused Diddy of abuse and sexual assault. Thanks to New York's Adult Survivors Act, victims could bring claims even decades later. Cassie's case triggered a landslide. Just one day after filing, the lawsuit was settled, privately for an undisclosed but reportedly massive sum. Cassie was brave, but she was only the first. Others were already waiting in line to tell their stories. Soon after, more lawsuits followed from Daphne Joy, a model and entrepreneur, Lisa, who had spoken of the 90s incidents, and Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a producer who described systematic exploitation and coercion. With every new claim, pressure mounted. Public discussion turned to the same haunting question: how had one man escaped accountability for so long? His empire's reach made it nearly impossible for victims to be heard. Behind the glittering brand lay stories of explosive outbursts, so-called freak-offs, lavish, multiple-day encounters that, according to multiple reports, involved manipulation, coercion, and humiliation. The fallout was massive: investigations, raids, and a landmark trial, where Diddy was partially convicted on several counts. The impact went beyond law and celebrity. It became a symbol of unchecked power and the fight of justice. In 2024, things escalated. Homeland Security investigations raided Diddy's mansion in Los Angeles and Miami. Reason? Suspicion of human trafficking, drug use, and coercive sexual conduct. Electronics, hard drives, videotapes, and an oddly large quantity of baby oil were all seized. His lawyers called it a public humiliation, but the tide had turned. Media outlets began seriously investigating the women's accounts. In May 2024, CNN published a hotel surveillance video. It appeared to show Diddy assaulting Cassie in a corridor. The video went viral and public opinion shifted for good. Even for Diddy, this was a turning point. Everything that he had built up over the years was suddenly called into question. Even Diddy's own apology, "I am not perfect, I'm truly sorry," failed to repair the damage.
I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Brands cut ties. Projects were cancelled. His empire began to crumble. Today, Diddy faces a series of civil and criminal trials, alleging sexual assault, extortion, and trafficking. He denies all wrongdoing. But the damage is done. Former partners, artists, and friends have distanced themselves. His brand stands taint, his future uncertain. The Diddy case proves one thing: power doesn't last forever. Eventually, the truth catches up. What began with Cassie's lawsuit shook an entire system. In October 2025, Sean Diddy Combs was found partially guilty in a landmark trial. He now faces up to 50 months in prison and a $500,000 fine. This verdict marks a turning point, a signal that abuse of power, no matter how massive, can't go unseen.
And true or false, did you have the most memorable time with me on this interview?
Damn, that's true.
I believe that.
How far the truth reaches remains to be uncovered. If you liked this story, subscribe for more celebrity true crime investigations.